Although most of Anglesey's agriculture is now given over to cattle and sheep rearing, there was a time when this fertile growing island milled and exported grain to the mainland in vast quantities. Moving around the island, you can hardly fail to notice many ruined towers, the remains of over 50 windmills which once dotted the landscape. Over the years, improved transportation, centralized industry and mass production led to the demise of all these mills. Less conspicuous, but still to be seen, are the ruins of the old watermill. At Llandrwsant, Howell Mill is a working watermill which has been serving the needs of a rural farming community continuously for over 600 years. The building stands on sloping ground where the River Alor, flowing through a small valley, fills a reservoir. Water from the reservoir fills a stone-lined channel known as the Leat, along which it flows to turn a 14-foot diameter wheel before rejoining the river below the mill. A mill wheel was turning on this spot in 1135, when the record of Carnarvon listed over 60 mills in Anglesey, at least one in each parish. The wheel drives 4 sets of grinding stones and other machinery in the basement. Originally, the mill crushed oats and ground corn to feed livestock, ground oats to make oatmeal for porridge and oat cakes, and wheat to make flour. Nowadays, because of changing demand, milling is restricted to animal feeds. Barley feeds pigs, maize is used largely in mixtures to feed cattle, whilst oats are rolled or crushed, often to be fed alone, or in mixtures compounded in the mill to the individual farmer's recipe. The grain is still mostly grown locally. Restoration work in 1975, which fitted a new slated roof and replaced worn floorboards, altered the outward appearance little, but gave this 125-year-old enterprise a new lease of life. The Llynon Mill is a perfect example of a mill of yesteryear. Purchased in a derelict state by the Anglesey Borough Council, it was restored to its present condition and opened in 1984 as a tourist attraction. The tapering structure is 30 feet high and 19.5 feet diameter at the base. It is known as a tower mill because all the machinery is centered in a fixed tower, whilst the top or cap can be turned.
And pull in the chain. reason we pull on the chain is to move the sails into the wind, because the wind might be coming from a different direction on a different day, and therefore you need them to get facing into the wind, otherwise you won't get them turning.
Pulling the chain, what weight are you turning?
When you're pulling on the chain, you're moving approximately 15 ton, which includes the cap, that's the whole roof, the sails, and also most of the machinery inside the mill.
Made of weatherboard, covered with sacking and creosoted, the cap is boat-shaped, 17 feet across with a petticoat 25 inches deep overlapping the top of the tower. The span of each sail is 69 feet 6 inches, whilst they vary in width from 7 feet 9 inches at the centre to 6 feet 3 inches at the tip. The sails form a framework on which the sailcloths could be, and in this case are, spread by hand. Of the 4 floors inside the mill, the top one serves only to protect those below from dust, rain, or anything else that may enter the cap area. The sails are attached to a heavy cast iron cross fixed at the end of the winch shaft, which projects through the front of the cap and to which a large metal cog wheel, 8 feet 9 inches in diameter, known as the brake wheel, is fitted. A brake acts on its rim to stop and hold the sails. This large wheel gears with a smaller wooden cog mounted on top of the driving shaft. It's made of wood so that if anything got jammed, the wooden teeth would shear off first. The wooden driving shaft running down through the center of the mill to the first floor drives the stones and other machinery. Locally grown wheat is stored on the ground floor before being hoisted and emptied into storage bins on the second floor. There are 2 stones inside the wooden casing. The bottom one, the bedstone, is fixed, whereas the top one revolves about 50 times a minute. By turning the handle on the governors, the miller adjusts the gap between the stones, lifted to produce coarse flour and lowered to produce fine flour. As the grain is fed into the stones by chutes, the wooden driving shaft knocks against the chutes and shakes the grain into the eye of the stones. The revolving governors stop the stones from bouncing up and down. After the wheat has been ground, it falls down through a wooden spout to the flour dressing machine on the ground floor, where it is processed for sale. Today, wholemeal flour was being sold. The demise of these mills is ironic in view of soaring fuel costs and escalating pollution. They only use natural resources, for the water and the wind, having supplied the power, then passed on.